English, we have two different verbs. We have regular verbs and we have irregular verbs. Now, teacher, what are regular verbs and what are irregular verbs? Okay, so regular verbs are when you use an ed to put the verb in past. So for example, the verb call, I call you, can you call me? That verb in past is with ed and it's past. So call is present, called is past. And you can see that in many, many verbs. Now here we have some. We don't have all, we have some. For example, love, loved, clean, cleaned, describe, described, follow, followed, invite, invited, learn, learned, like, liked, live, lived, move, moved, wait, waited, record, recorded, and travel, traveled, and finally, want, wanted. Okay, let me repeat that again for everybody to listen. Call, called. Love, loved. Clean, cleaned. Described, described. Follow, followed. Invite, invited. Learn, learned. Like, liked. Live, lived. Move, moved. Wait, waited. Record, recorded. Travel, traveled. And want, wanted. Now, maybe you listened to different pronunciations of the ed. Maybe you listened to different pronunciations of the ed. That is completely normal. The ed has two different pronunciations. One pronunciation is like this: call, called, called, where the sound can be like a D or can be like a T. All right, so called. The other sound is a little bit easier to listen to and to distinguish. Invited. Invite, present. Invited, simple past. So we have invite, invited. We have call, called. Now, maybe you can ask me, well, teacher, I don't know when I am going to pronounce invite, invited or invite. When do I know when to pronounce the ed like a T, like t, or like the ed, invited, wanted, waited? When do I know this? Well, for that, we have a very simple rule. And the rule is this. The rule is if the verb ends with a T, if the verb ends with a T or a D, the pronunciation of that is going to be with the ed. All right, so think about it like this. If the verb that you want to pronounce ends with a TED or a DED, for example, we are going to use the color green for this. For example, invited, waited, recorded, wanted, and I think that's all. Yes. All right. If the verbs are going to end with TED, DED, the pronunciation needs to be ed. So invited, waited, recorded, wanted. Do you have any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. And if the verb doesn't end with T or D, the pronunciation is like we mentioned before, d. So it's called, cleaned, described, liked, lived, loved, moved, followed, traveled. all you have to do is finish that pronunciation with the. Do you have any questions?